Dr. AbuSulayman delves deep into his research on Islamic traditions and shares his learnings with us.
When I was in the International Islamic University, the rector of the university, when I went there, it was a small university with about 1,000 students in two faculties, law and economic. Now, and also, preparatory years before they go into the college, the faculties. But they are put into big rooms with many beds together. I never spent this kind of residence during my life. But I found it very difficult. These young people will be there for many years. It will bring social conflict. Somebody would like to sleep, somebody would like to put the light on, somebody would like to hear the radio. All this will get them in trouble with one. Somebody would like to study. So, but you can do nothing about it because it's a state university and this cost. But then when the decision came to build the new campus, part of this new campus going to be 15,000 student residence. So I said to myself, I'm going to sit and make sure that the student will get the best possible benefits within the area located per students. So I said to myself, let me analyze what is the best and what is the second best. I said, is it the best really to have one student per room? I said no. Simply because these young people come and mother used to take care of them, cook and wash and do this and that, and he comes here, he has to take care of himself, to cook and wash and do all these little things, and he will be going into a new kind of education, different approach. So I consider him like the family of a deceased. Don't leave him alone to cry for himself. Better keep him, in the crowd. So one is not a good idea. Okay, I said to myself. Two, I said no, again it's not a good idea. Because the two, surely something will happen between them of conflict. Who's going to bow first, who's going to accept, to admit, who's going to allow? That will create a problem. I said, okay, three together. It's still not a good idea. Usually two will go more closer and the third will be out in the open. Four, I found all kind of conflicts, resolution will be in this four. That is the minimum of what I call society. Now, at that point, it came to my mind a problem in Sharia. Could not be explained. Nobody ever. So why in proving adultery you need 4 witnesses? Why not 2? Enough to execute. In case of somebody kills somebody, 2 enough to kill or to execute. Why not 3? Why not 5? Nobody explain why 4. Yes, the group, yes. But what is the point behind 4? Immediately I realize, when I read the verse in the Quran, the punishment is not for the action. The punishment because you are hurting others by acting in society of this bad behavior. To hurt others who are not party to your problem. If you do that, then you are punished for isha'atul fahisha, to make the bad behavior common. That is not allowed, not acceptable. And that is why also, if the witnesses are less than 4, 3, in one case where 3 see exactly what happened, and the 4th give what you call, say, an evidence, although, it couldn't be anything else in what he said. They are to be punished because they are less than 4 to see exact, and they are the one who made this problem open. That is why they are to be. Now, then what is the, if that means it's okay to commit adultery? No. There you have two things. One is upbringing and education. That's the real way to deal with problems of the human nature. Because in human nature, we can never say we are saved never to commit a mistake. That's impossible. That is why if you're going to spy on people and to follow on their weaknesses, you make them, feel unsafe. That is not allowed. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ, when he got the young man asking him to allow him for adultery, he didn't threaten him. He made self-control. People who behave improper or open their homes for this kind of practices, there is a different approach for this, what they call al-mufsiduna fil ard, the people who spread corruption, and not, you cannot accuse them of adultery, but you can accuse them of spreading the corruption in the world. That's a different story. So what I discovered two things from, I was working on nothing to do with Sharia or with the penal code or anything. I was discussing or thinking of social and psychological problem. I realize why it is for and what is the meaning of the punishment. Not only that, that also led me to, that is crimes and mistakes of two kinds. The human nature and the rights of others, like money or blood or this kind of crime. Now, in crimes belong to human nature, I find I cannot say I never commit a mistake. So I don't want you to follow behind me and to look behind me. You make me unsafe. And that is why when the Sayyidina Umar, the second Khalif, heard a noise in one house. So he went over the wall and looked and found them drinking. He brought them. They said, yes, we drank, but we didn't go outside. We didn't disturb anybody. He could not punish them because this is belong to human nature and this privacy. It is not to your right to go into the privacy. You work on education, in upbringing, in advice, but you don't threaten security of human being in his own self. But when it comes to money or blood or this kind of crime, the punishment is for the action itself. Because I may not never think to kill anybody or to steal from anybody, but surely I will fear that somebody may kill me or may steal, take my property. That is where you want to stop that. And that's why you accept two and even less than two other evidences to prove, because you are for the action. That's great. Second thing, because that led me to really to think about the human nature. In some countries, when they want people fear Islam, they raise the issue of penal code. It looks very severe. If you kill, you will be beheaded. If you steal, your hand will be cut. If you make fasad, you will be crucified or killed, or cut your hand, one hand and one leg. That looks very severe. And, societies. So people will say, okay, with Islam, it's great, but we cannot take that. I found there's great misunderstanding about this issue. Look, for example, if somebody kills somebody, yes, the family could demand the execution of the person. But if you read the next ayah, you find ask you to forgive, not really to go for revenge. But of course, on the other hand, if the family are not accepting to help, it's better for revenge, because that will kill much more people than that. So execution is the ceiling, but you are required to go down even to let go. That means any punishment less than the ceiling, it's acceptable as long as it prevents crime. And this is what we find in even modern societies. You find for some time they apply execution for certain crimes. In certain times they just stop that. So it depends on what to stop the crime. It's not a revenge. Now we go for stealing. If we read the ayah, it says, whoever commit theft, cut the hand. Now that means السارق والسارقة فاقطعوا أيديهما جزاء ما كسبا نكالا من الله. A male or a female person who steals, the hand will be cut. Now that means anything anybody do which could be described as stealing, the hand should be cut. Even scholars realize that is not possible. So they looked at how it has been practiced and to find limitation to limit this kind of punishment. So they came up to say it has to be a certain amount to make it possible to the hand to be cut, and has to be in a safe place where really it shows the intention to do, and so on. Many of these. Now they did not realize that they are saying the Quran expression was loose, and they are trying to make it complete. This is not true, because if they just read the next ayah, it says if the person repent, Allah will accept. That means then cutting the hand is the ceiling, and it goes all the way to accept repent and that means if the person made a mistake, if the lower punishment really make people not to go for this kind of crime, that's acceptable. It is the ceiling where really this kind of criminal could make great impact on society, and sometimes even that stealing goes with other crimes. So if we look at it at the ceiling, and the society and the shura of the society can choose any other kind of punishments which is enough to to protect society, it's acceptable. But you cannot go beyond the ceiling in all cases. Okay, let's go to the third one. People who made crimes which really disturb societies and spread corruption and problems. It says إن الذين يحاربون الله ورسوله ويسعون في الأرض فسادا أن يقتلوا أو يصلبوا أو تقطع أيديهم وأرجلهم من خلاف أو ينفوا من الأرض. People who fight against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger. That means against the proper thing in society, and spread corruption, to be killed or crucified, or hand and leg to be cut, or to be expelled out of the society. So you can see the killing is the ceiling, and it reached down to just make the society safe by sending him out, put him in jail. And especially nowadays, crimes committed by addicts, it is really hideous and it's really terrible. So these people to be put into prison, and you don't allow them to go out until they are safe to the society. So you have the ceiling and you have the bottom. And if it's up to society and to people to select and decide in which way to punish, I don't think that make anybody fearful. As a matter of fact, in stealing, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, when there is a kind of shortage of food and because of rain, he stopped punishing anybody for stealing. Once also a young man who seems to make a mistake committed a crime of stealing. So he told him, "Did you steal? Say no." He said no, and let him go. So here, if we looked at hudud as the ceiling, you cannot go beyond, and up to you to decide which can protect your society. I think that is very acceptable. It's not a problem at all.